Go.
Hi, my name is Amy Howard. Today I'm going to be showing you one of the most fun looks that you're going to see now in kitchens, and that's a faux Carrara marble backsplash. It's done very easily with just some simple 1/8" glass and some one-step paint, some glazing liquid, and some lacquer. So I want to show you what I did yesterday in the studio in creating this look. This is the front of the glass, so it's easily protected and you can clean it with Windex or any type of degreaser. And this is the back of the glass that I worked on. So we're working in reverse. So the first thing I want to show you that you need to do is just start with a clean piece of 1/8" glass. And then I want you to get a little mister that you've just put some tap water in, and we're going to mist the glass 100%. You don't want to overdo it too terribly much, but we want to make sure that there's just a little bit of mist of water everywhere on the glass, because that's going to allow our veining that we're doing, that's very important to Carrara, to glide over the surface. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to take some of my chalk-based paint. This is one of my favorite colors, named after my husband. A good man is hard to find. And I'm going to put a little bit in this container. Now you're going to notice I'm not going to be using straight paint on this first veining. Now I'm going to add some of my glazed over. It is a water-based glaze that allows you to be able to use it with water-based and chalk-based paints. So I'm going to pour about the same amount as I did in my paint and stir that up. And then the next thing I'm going to add is water. So we want to do 1 part water, 1 part glaze, and 1 part paint. So I'm going to stir that up really well. And this is going to be my veining paint. You can also use this as glazes on a piece of furniture maybe that you've painted. It's the same technique. You're going to be working with 1 part glaze, 1 part chalk-based paint, and 1 part water. I'm going to add just a little bit more here. All right, so now the first thing I'm going to do after I've got that stirred up really well is I'm just going to take an artist brush. You can have a couple of different sizes depending on the size of the veining that you want. And also years ago, I also used to work with feathers. That's a great tool to be able to use as well. So dip your brush into your glaze, and then at a 45-degree angle, you're going to work from left to right. So you want to lay in a vein that it would go here, and then it's great to study veining, but look how I'm rolling my brush from left to right. See how I'll go back up? Like there would be a fissure vein that you would see in an actual piece of marble. This is something that you can practice on, the techniques. It's definitely an art, but you'll see that there's a reason why now I spritzed this glass with water first, because see how it's making it thinner? It's allowing this paint to just kind of glide over the surface. And you'll notice that I'm using a smaller brush here. I can come back in with a larger brush. Look how I'm opening this up. So this is a larger fissure, and then I'll carry it off to the side like this. Now I may come in with a larger artist brush, stir that up, maybe lay it in here. Notice how I'm holding the brush again. See how my hand is on top of it? I'm not holding it like this. It's over the top of the brush, so that way I'm constantly turning my brush back and forth like this. So I'll fill that in just a little bit. Make sure that you don't get squiggles. A lot of people will kind of do this type action, and that's not necessarily natural. You want to be working at a 45-degree angle the whole time, but it's more of a rolling action, so the veins are going to be not as quite as dramatic. So I'm going to come back to my smaller brush, and I'm going to lay in just a few more veinings here. Notice how I'm continuing to kind of go the same direction. I might come across this way where they intersect, which would be very natural. You want to be careful not to add any veins that go directly horizontal or directly vertical. They're all going to be going kind of in a 45-degree angle. So there, if I have that little area, I'll fill that in just a little bit. It's kind of fun to work on the glass. And I want to be careful that I don't leave any areas that are too large without some veining, so I might just kind of come in and add that. Now, last but definitely not least, I'm going to come to my solid paint here that's not been thinned with glaze or water, and I'm going to have some darker veins that I'm going to lay directly on top of here. So I want to make sure these are just a little bit smaller. And notice how I'm picking my brush up just a little bit more to where it won't be quite as heavy or as wide. This will give me the variance of having some darker veins as well as the lighter veins. And I only want to do about 20% of these at the very most. So see how I didn't even start off the side like that? I can start here in the middle of that vein and bring it down. It really is a lot of fun. You can't mess this up. If you feel like you've done some veining and you're not happy with it, the nice thing about it is you just wash it off and you can start all over. So depending on the different sheets that you're working on, especially if this is going to be above your cooktop, you might want to be working on a larger piece of glass. But the next thing you're going to do is you're going to come back with your white Amy Howard at Home nitrocellulose lacquer. And I know it seems odd because you're seeing water droplets here that I put on in the very beginning, and you're also seeing wet paint. But this is what I want you to do. While that's still wet, I haven't allowed it to dry, I want you to come back, and you're going to use this a lot like a paintbrush. You're going to work from left to right and overlay it until you cover this entire sheet of glass. So here we go. Offload it to the side and then go all the way down. Now you'll notice, look what I'm doing. I am painting directly on top of those water droplets. Now I want you to come back the opposite direction. I would prefer that you do this outside because there's going to be fumes. Unfortunately, I can't do a video and show you how to do it if I have a mask on. So I'm taking a lint-free rag here and I'm going to dab it and watch how it lifts that paint. You're going to see in a minute why that's so important. So I'm just dabbing it down into where I see the water droplets, and it's pulling that paint up, which is going to allow me to come back with my second color, which is going to be an even darker veining, and it'll be beautiful. So the next color that I'm going to come back with is Lagrange. Make sure you shake it up really well. From left to right again. In the opposite direction. Allowing about 5 or 6 inches from the surface. Now I want you to see where we pulled that away, what that looks like. See those darker fissures? And you can play with coming in and adding a little bit of gold lacquer. You can really, your imagination, it's up to you as far as how you want it to be able to look. And the great thing about it is you may see a new business come out of this. It's so easy. You can use it in bathrooms. You can put it in anywhere. You can also work with acrylic, sheets of acrylic as well if you don't want to work with glass. So I hope you learned a lot today on how you can restore your kitchen and make it look fabulous, and go enjoy the bragging rights.